What up, guys? Yeah, we have got another winter Christmas seasonal beer coming at you. Today we have Victory's seasonal favorites Winter Cheers Hazy Wheat Ale. I was kind of excited to see a wheat ale for a winter seasonal, and it is a 6.7% winter ale, or hazy wheat ale. So a little higher on the ABV for the wheat beer. So let's see what's going on. And for everybody, Victory Brewing Company is out of Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Let's crack this sucker open. I don't necessarily call it hazy, but, whatever. Let's, I'm interested to see what's going on with the hazy wheat ale. And it's one of those beers they tell you everything about it. So if you are really into beer knowledge, you will have a good idea of what this beer tastes like. It tells you the malt, the Pilsner wheat oats, the hops is Citra and Tettnang, and they even have the brewmaster's signatures on it. So they give you everything except the IBUs. I feel like I'd rather know the IBUs than the brewmaster's names. That's just me. But anyways, let's get into the review, get into the smell. It smells like pot. It smells like weed. It's like a hint of funk with a hint of pininess. It smells like somebody just had like that airtight container and you just kind of did that and you just got a whiff of it. That's what this smells like. I mean, I'm sure that pininess, what is that? What would that be? The Citra hops? I feel like, now that it's opening up, I am getting more of like a, I think that'd be a coriander, no, I'm thinking more of like a clove, like that clovey wheat kind of thing you get maybe from like a Hoegaarden or something like that. It's got a bit of that kind of thing going on. Once you fight through that initial funk, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's just, getting out of the way. That's just the original, the initial aroma when it's poured, or I'm just smelling through it. But I am starting to pick up more of that kind of like, just classic wheat beer kind of thing. Maybe some vanilla, maybe some clove. That's really what my nose is focusing on now. So it is starting to smell more just like a nice kind of a wheat beer with maybe just heavier alcohol content, which I would not be anti that. I like a nice pronounced wheat beer. So I'm gonna recommend it on the aroma. That initial pot smell it didn't last long. Or it just kind of evolves. Either way, I like that. So I'm going to recommend it on the aroma. And now let's get into the taste. It really is just like a strong wheat ale. I have zero clue why this is a winter beer, other than it being the higher ABV. Nothing really says winter to me. It has that cloveness to it. It has that, I'm going to say more of a lemon zest than an orange zest. It definitely has more of that stronger lemony kind of, lemon peel kind of thing. Maybe a dab of just a very small amount of vanilla. And I think you can pick up a bit of that. I was gonna say maltiness, but I don't. No. Initially, for the briefest of seconds, I get a bit of a Pilsner. Just a very quick poof gone. Like right, it's the first thing that hits my lips, and if you blink, you miss it. But it's definitely there, which is interesting. It's like if you're not paying attention, you'll definitely not get it. You'll miss it. And I mean, I don't know necessarily how much it really brings to the table, this beer, other than just different tastes depending on, how much paying attention, if you're looking for it or whatever. But it definitely has that just Pilsner wheat beer. Which is, I can dig that. I like it that it kind of evolves during the same just gulp. You can get different aspects to it, which I can be down for. And I feel like that's that was that kind of a funk aroma that I was picking up initially. Was from the Pilsner aspect to it. So maybe that's why they tell you all that information on the side, because you definitely get that kind of funkiness from the Pilsner malt, and then I think the piney thing, I believe, from the Citra hops really kind of gives it that funk, citrus malt pine thing going on. But in terms of taste, the Pilsner is not all that present except for the very initial thing. But it's kind of, it's almost like stronger wheat beer meets a hint of a Pilsner. I'm thinking if you've ever had the Firestone Walker, I think it's called the Pivo. I believe that's I think that's it. Where, that one's almost like a Pilsner meets an IPA, I think. But this is kind of like a Pilsner meets a wheat beer. So it's interesting. And it's high, it's a high alcohol content. I can dig it. I'll get more into the classifications in a bit. But in terms of taste, yeah, I'll recommend it. I can get behind it. Especially if you want a wheat beer that's a little, might have to slow down a little bit. It's got a higher alcohol content. It's probably one of the higher ABV wheat beers I've seen before, right? 6.7%. But there it is. And the IBUs, I do wish it would have said the IBUs on here. I think because the wheat's in there, it's kind of throwing me off for what it is. I might guess somewhere between 30 and 40 IBUs, maybe. Somewhere in there, so there is a bit of a bitterness in it, but it's not super crazy. But so I'm gonna recommend it on taste. And next category is about price, and it's not bad. Victory is generally not that expensive. It is you can typically find Victory in most locations. It's got a pretty good distribution. As long as I can remember, I will try to include the Seek and Brew link underneath in the description. Just follow that link and look up Victory. excuse me, just look up the Victory and it'll show you if it's available on tap in your state or if it's available as bottle in tap and all that stuff. It's a pretty helpful website to see the distribution of different beers. But it's not bad. You could pay a whole lot more for a micro beer. So I don't at this point I don't know who owns who anymore. I mean, the beer does not have that independent sticker logo slapped onto it. So I'm assuming somebody owns somebody, but at this point, I mean, in 5 years' time, everybody's gonna be owned by 2 different breweries, anyways. But yeah, I'll recommend it for a value price. I think it's fair. All right, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And I'm trying to, like, this is again one of those beers there where nothing about this beer says winter to me. There's no winter seasons. There's no, I mean, spices and seasonings and anything like that. There's nothing like that with this. Really, it's just a wheat ale, and I think the only reason they're even releasing it as a winter is because the ABV is probably 2.5 more than your standard wheat beer. That's basically why it's a winter beer. But I can get behind the fact that it's just not an IPA. So many places will just like they'll have a half dozen extra IPAs that they don't know what to do with, and they'll just call it a winter IPA. Whatever. So I like that it's just not an IPA, and I feel like I've been noticing as of late that the IPA, the mass production of IPA started to tinker down a little bit. I don't know if that's just because it's gone, it goes from Oktoberfest to pumpkin beers to winter beers. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I feel like when I go into like Total Wine or one of those big booze warehouse places that there's just not as many IPAs. There's still a billion of them, but just not a billion and one. So I can get behind somebody putting out a wheat beer for a holiday release. Just keep that in mind if you're shopping for it and you're looking at it, you're like, oh, winter beer, man, a wheat beer with some clove and some nutmeg and cinnamon, that could be good. It doesn't. I mean, you'll get a bit of clove, but a lot of wheat beers have clove, so just keep that in mind. It doesn't really have any extra winter spices. It's just higher ABV with a dab of Pilsner in there. So, but for distinction, I'm torn because to me, it's not wintry, but it is rather unique in that it's a higher ABV and there is a hint of Pilsner in it. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I think I'm just going to give it a half. Simply because, I don't know, it's just not a winter beer to me. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's just being a little too harsh, or me living in the winter beers of 2015 and not 2019 and looking for the spices that don't seem to exist anymore. But, I mean, whatever. I mean, just give it a half, move on. But, all right, next category is drinkability, and I think it drinks pretty well. A 6.7. It drinks smooth. I think the more it opens up, the more it starts to warm up to room temperature, the more you're getting some of that Pilsner thing. Like, I feel like each sip I take, I'm getting more of that kind of Pilsner funk aroma. But it's not overpowering. If you've watched any of my other reviews on some of the Pilsner beers, especially those kind of run-of-the-mill, like international Pilsners that you get you'll find in every country, they always have that uber funk to it. It's not to that level. There is enough funk in there to let you know that it's got that kind of Pilsnery thing going on. But it's still, I think, like a wheat base with some Pilsner in it. And, but again, 6.7% ABV for a pretty solid beer all around, I think. But yeah, the higher alcohol content, I'll recommend it for drinkability. All things considered, I think it works pretty well and it drinks pretty easily. All right, last category is would I buy it again? And yeah, I mean it's different enough where I definitely would. I wish this wasn't just a winter release. I feel like they could do this year round. Like, to me, this does not say winter beer, but it does say, hey, this is a wheat ale with a built-in Pilsner and a higher ABV. We could sell this all year. I feel like, I mean, I don't know the marketing from them. I don't know what other beers they do year round, but like, I would get this at other times of the year. Like, I would really dig this early spring when it's starting to warm up, but it's not quite like warm, and I'm starting to move from those like the heartier beers into the lighter, wheats and pilsners and sours and all that stuff. I feel like this would be perfect in that spring category. Like, if you did this instead of a winter release, you did it as an early spring up until like Oktoberfest. I feel like that would be perfect because the wheat kind of lends itself to that time of year anyways, and it's got a higher ABV for people that's like, I want a wheat beer, but I want something a little more like oomph to it. I feel like that's this. So yes, I would buy it again. I don't know if I'll buy it again for the winter though. So I'm gonna have to double check to see when the production and distribution of this beer is, because the time of the year that I want this beer, it might not actually be available. But I feel like that's just them not releasing it in the right season. But what do I know, But so I'm actually going to give it a half, simply because I don't know if when I want it during the year, it's actually going to be available. So yeah, I'm giving it a half. But anyways, that is my review of Victory Winter Cheers Hazy Wheat Ale. What do you think? Have you had this before? What do you think of a Pilsner meets wheat beer? Like, does that sound interesting? Especially with the 6% ABV. It's like, neither the Pilsner or the wheat beer is usually very high in the ABV, but they did it. So, and I'll try to include the IBUs in the video. Again, what did I say? Between 30 and 40. Yeah, we'll see how close I am. But, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'm going to continue trying to get as much of these winter beers out, because I am looking for that ultimate winter beer, damn it, and I have not found it yet. So I'm going to keep searching. I'm like the Indiana Jones of Christmas beer. Or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. For myself and for Victory Winter Cheers Hazy Wheat Ale, take it easy.